everybody, my name is Kristen and I'm an Assistant Registrar in International Admissions at Dalhousie University. Today I'm going to walk you through how to complete our online application for admission. But before I start that, I just want to take a minute to say that if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the advisor from your area. You can find their contact information at dalhousie.connect. Once you're ready to begin your application, I would suggest starting with our website, dal.ca/apply now. That's going to bring you to this site here, where we've broken out in broad strokes the steps that you need to complete to successfully apply for admission. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to assume that you've completed steps 1 and 2, choosing your programs and reviewing the admission requirements, and we're going to jump directly into step 3. So to get started filling out our application, we're going to click on this button here, Start Your Application. That's going to bring us to the Dalhousie admissions application. Please take a minute to read through the information on this page, as you'll find here directions for how to apply and where to send your supporting documents. It's important to note that you're not able to upload your documents through the application itself. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll see that you're able to input your login ID and PIN. If you've already submitted your application for admission, this is where you'll enter your login information to check on the status of that application. If you're applying for the first time, you'll need to click on the link below, First Time User Account Creation, to create your login credentials. I've already done that for the presentation today, so I'm just going to enter that, and then we'll begin. So once you've created and submitted your login credentials, you're going to be brought to the first page of the application. And you'll be asked to select your application type. There's a lot of information here, but please don't feel overwhelmed. As I mentioned before, if you need assistance, you can reach out to our advisors for help. As you can see, there are 3 columns of information here for you to review. The first is the application type. That's what you'll select in the drop-down menu at the bottom of the page. The second is a description of which applications are contained within each application type, and the third lets you know what term you can apply for. For example, our health programs only taking new students in September of each year. The application type you will need to select is determined by the faculty that your program belongs to. For example, the Bachelor of Commerce program belongs to the Faculty of Management, so you'll select the DAL Undergrad General application type. If you're not sure what faculty your program belongs to, you can visit our viewbook at dal.ca/viewbook. We break down which programs belong to each faculty on pages 6 and 7. Please look through each application type carefully to find the program that you're interested in being considered for. While some of our programs admit directly to the major area of study you'll focus on in your degree, like the Bachelor of Science Nursing, some of our programs require you to apply to the program first and then declare your major or discipline later in the degree. If you don't see the specific major you want to apply to listed on the application, just select the program it belongs to. You can find all the available majors for each program, again at the viewbook on pages 6 and 7. One last note before I move on, Dalhousie offers several science-based programs across a range of subject areas. It's important to carefully read through the application type descriptions because many of our degrees are called the Bachelor of Science, but they belong to different faculties and so have a different application type. For example, the Bachelor of Science Nursing has its own application type, and the Bachelor of Science Kinesiology belongs to the DAL Undergraduate Health Faculty. Pages 6 and 7 of the ebook can be an excellent guide here. For this example, I'm going to select our Bachelor of Science Medical Sciences application. Well, I know from reading the viewbook that this program belongs to the Faculty of Science, so I'm going to select the DAL Undergraduate General application type from the drop-down list at the bottom of the page and click Continue. So next you're going to select the term that you'd like to begin your studies in. There are a few options, so make sure you're selecting the right term. You'll need to enter your legal name here. If you prefer to be referred to by a different name, there's a section in the application where you can record that. Type in your information, and when you're finished, click Fill Out Application. So that's going to bring you to the application checklist. Now I know that nobody likes to read through the terms and conditions, but please take a moment to read through the declaration on this page, as the information you're providing on this application will form the basis of your academic record and your eventual diploma, which are both legal documents. Now I'm going to walk you through each application checklist item, starting with the name section. So as you can see, some of this information will carry through from earlier in the application, but you do have the option to record a preferred name here, which is what we'll use to refer you in our informal correspondence, and what your professors will eventually see on their class list. When you're finished, click Continue. Now it's going to take you to the next item in the checklist, your address and phone number section. Here, we ask that you enter your address and your phone number. You should fill in the address of the place where you would like to receive mail from Dalhousie. If you're applying from outside of Canada and the United States, we know that your address might not follow the formatting that you see on the page here exactly. Please fill in the fields that most closely match your address information so that it accurately reflects your mailing address. If you're applying for admission from outside of North America, please record your country and area codes in the first phone number box, followed by your phone number in the second box, and if you have one, an extension in the third. Once you finish entering this information, click Continue to move to the next section of the application. So in this section, we need to know about your permanent residency. So please take a moment to read the definition of a resident at the top of the page, and then indicate your city, state, or country of residence according to the directions. Some programs do consider residency in determining eligibility for admission. So that brings us to the personal information section of the application. Some fields, like your citizenship, email, and birth date, are mandatory. Others are voluntary. If you identify as belonging to any of the groups included below, you have the option to indicate that with or without consent on your application. If you voluntarily self-identify with consent, the university may forward you information about opportunities to connect with resources and support services tailored to specific communities, which may include information about scholarships or equitable admissions policies. If you voluntarily self-identify without consent, any information you choose to provide is anonymized and is only used to assist the university in assessing and improving services for students who identify as belonging to one of the groups. In either case, any information that you do provide in this section, as with the rest of the application, is strictly confidential. Once you finish filling out this section, click Continue to move to the next. So this brings us to the international information section. This section is only for students who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents of Canada. And if you are a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you can skip it. So in this section, we want to know if you've already entered Canada, when, and on what visa type. We want to know about your your level of English language proficiency. And we want to know if you are hiring an educational agent to represent you. An educational agent is someone you engage to advise you on the application process. If you'd like to give a third-party information access to your application information, that section will be available later in the application. So here we ask you to choose your admissions type. Please read through the options detailed on the page here and choose the option that best describes your current academic status. If your academic status is not captured by one of the options here, choose the nearest match and then feel free to follow up with your advisor. In this section of the application, we're looking for information on your high school and curriculum. Transfer students should also fill out this application section. Our first step here is going to be reporting information about the high school you're attending. So click the Look Up High School Code link, select your province and state or country, and if you're applying from within Canada, or the United States, choose your city. That should provide you with a list of high schools. If your high school is on it, select it, and then click Copy Selected High School Information to Data Entry Form. That'll populate information about your high school here in these fields. If you can't find your high school listed on in that lookup section, you can manually enter the information for your high school here. You'll also have to choose the country, input your approximate graduation date, answer if your high school is semestered or not. If you're an Ontario student, you'll have the opportunity to provide us with your OUAC reference number. If you're a Nova Scotia student, you'll be able to provide us with your provincial student number, so that for both of those provinces, we can download your grades. If you look below here, you'll see that we ask if you've taken any advanced placement or international baccalaureate programs, and if so, if you've done the full IB diploma. Now, this screen is only required from students who are looking to transfer to Dalhousie from another college or university, or who have attended post-secondary schooling before. High school students only need to answer the two mandatory questions: have you attended or are you currently attending college or university? And have you ever been required to withdraw from any post-secondary institution for academic reasons? Transfer students will look up their college or university information using the same lookup information tool we walked through in the high school section. You'll need to add the attend from and attend to dates manually. If you look at the bottom of the page at the Enter or View Another College or Degree button, you can click on that if you have to add any additional college or university information. You can repeat this step as often as required. It's important to note here that you must disclose every post-secondary institution you've attended, even if you don't think that the work is going to be relevant to what you want to study at Dalhousie. In our admissions review, we consider your entire academic history, and failure to disclose information is grounds for us to rescind an offer of admission or to cancel an application. You're also required to disclose, again, if you've ever been required to withdraw from a post-secondary institution, with some details there, and if you're applying as part of a 2+2 program. Once you fill this out completely, click Continue to move to the next section. So this is the section where, in the top right corner of the screen, you'll find a list of programs you can apply for. So select your first choice program from the drop-down menu. The next two questions, you'll see we ask for your second and third choice of program. You can put any program you like in these boxes. It's a free type space. But just to make a note, we always look at your first choice application first. We only look to your second and then third choice applications if we can't admit you to the preceding choice. In this section, you can also let us know if you're interested in being considered for one of the Bachelor of Health Science streams, or if you're interested in DISC. If you look to the questions at the bottom, these are relevant to students in specific programs looking to transfer to Dalhousie. So in this section of the application, you have the option to provide us with some contact information for any family and friends who might like to be added to the Dalhousie Family and Friends newsletter mailing list. If they prefer not to receive emails from Dalhousie, you're not required to enter their information, but it can be a nice way for them to stay connected to the university. As you can see here, there are quite a number of instructions on this page, but please don't feel overwhelmed. If you take a scan through the bolded headlines, you'll see that they refer to different programs. For students applying to an undergraduate program, take a skim through the first, second, and last entry to see if anything applies to the program you're interested in. If a program you are interested in requires additional documentation to complete the application, it will be noted here on pages 8 and 9 of our ebook and on our website. Once you've done that, scroll to the bottom of the page and read through the questions. This is an important page for you to complete if you would like someone other than yourself to be able to ask questions about the status of your application. For example, if you'd like your mom or dad to be able to call on your behalf and ask questions about your admission, you must provide us with that information here in these first two questions. We also ask for your permission to release information about any scholarship we may be awarding you to your high school or to awards donors. If you consent to have your information shared, please select yes to any of the applicable questions. So that brings us to the final page of the online application, self-reported grades. On this page, we ask the students report what classes they took in grade 11, what grades they received, and any grade 12 classes they're registered for. Our early admissions period, between October 15th, 2021 and January 31st, 2022, we accept self-reported grades from students applying from within Canada and the United States. If you are an international student applying to Dalhousie from outside of Canada or the US, the only question on this page we ask that you answer is the first question, asking if you'll be attending open house. Although they're noted here on the page, I would just like to take the opportunity to make a few province-specific notes. For students applying from Ontario or Nova Scotia, although you've provided us with your OUAC or provincial student number, we do ask that you complete this section of the application in full. Please report your grade 11 classes, the grades you received in those classes, and your grade 12 classes in the appropriate places on this page. Now let's take a look at the table below. As you can see, we have space for you to report up to 15 grade 11 classes. Click on the drop-down menu next to each sequential number to select your grade 11 classes. If a class you took doesn't have an exact match in the drop-down list, but there is a closely related subject, you can choose that option. If there is no close match for the course you took, you can go to the question immediately following the table and enter any grade 11 subjects that you could not find in the drop-down list. In the column labeled Score, you'll enter the grade that you received. That grade must be entered in a 3-digit format. For example, if you received a 90% in grade 11 in biology, you will report that grade as 090. We also ask that you report the month and year in which you completed your classes. To continue our example, we'll say that I completed this course in January of 2020. You should also enter any final grade 12 marks that you may have received. Unfortunately, our system won't accept letter grades, so if your grades are issued in a letter format, you should have your guidance counselor send a copy of your transcripts. You can have them sent to admissions@dal.ca or international.admissions@dal.ca as appropriate. Instructions for submitting documents can be found in step 5 on our How to Apply checklist. Just visit www.dal.ca/apply-now. We ask that students identify if they're taking AP or IB classes, and you can do so below in the appropriate box. Congrats on making it this far. Now we've gone through and completed all the required sections of the application. There's one last button to push, and that's going to be application is complete. So that's going to bring you here to walk you through the details of how to make your fee payment for the application and how to submit application documents. If you go to the bottom of the page here, you can see that there's a proceed with payment section. If you click on that, it'll bring you through to a summary page where you can input your credit card information to pay the fee. Just click submit payment to make your payment. Thanks so much for tuning in today and checking this out. Once again, if you do have any follow-up questions, please feel free to connect with your advisor. You can find their contact information at dal.ca/